miracle every day holds the possibility of a miracle. How ready are you for that miracle? Yes, you may say, I'm not a Christian. The miracle comes as God decides to bring it to you. It may even be by saving your life and you turning again, back to your Creator. Maybe you've not been doing the right thing for quite some time, and it's an opportunity for you to just take a change and just move to the good side of life. Okay, it's a beautiful morning. Thank God for the gift of life. This is Galactic Television, and the program is Family and Values. Family and Values is a program that is all out to remind us, to put us in check, to help us, to assist us, to guide us, to give us an opportunity to also voice. Let's know why, what's been happening, how is it difficult for you, and for you to be able to get from the professionals how well, and those who have experienced certain things in life, that they can actually guide us to put us in the right space for us to have a peaceful and having to raise children that are trophy worthy. Okay, so on that note, I want to welcome you. You can join us on all our social media platforms, from Facebook to X to YouTube, and on StarTimes Navio on Oprime. You can automatically download Galaxy application for all our programs, and you're not missing out. So we're on the go. You're not missing anything in any way. My name is Olori Adejoke Adobi David, and today seems to be a very wonderful time in this particular season. So I don't know how ready you are, but I'm very ready. And on that note, we'll go for a short break and we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Role of the family in society. Family is the foundation of our society, and it's through our families that we learn our first lessons about our culture and traditions. As we grow up, we continue to learn from our families, and they become a vital link to our past and cultural heritage. In addition, our families provide us with a sense of belonging identity, and they play a critical role in shaping who we are as individuals. How can families preserve their cultural identity? One way that families can preserve their cultural identity is through the passing down of traditions and customs from generation to generation. These can include everything from recipes and music to religion practices and stories. Families can ensure their cultural heritage over time by keeping these traditions alive. Another way families can preserve their cultural identity is through the exploration of their ancestry. With the help of modern technology, it is easier than ever to trace our family roots and learn more about where we come from. Changing family structure over time. The concept of family has undergone significant transformations throughout history, influenced by various social, economic, and cultural factors. From the traditional model of nuclear family to the modern variations, family structures have adapted and evolved in response to changing values, lifestyle, and cultural heritage. The traditional nuclear family. In the past, nuclear family was a prevailing model across many cultures. The structure typically consisted of married heterosexual couples and their biological children. This model was rooted in cultural norms and traditions, emphasizing stability, hierarchy, and the transmission of cultural heritage from one generation to the next. However, as societies changed, so did family structure. Changing roles and gender dynamics. The feminist movement and the fight for gender equality has played a significant role in reshaping family structures. With increasing opportunities for women in education and employment, the traditional division of labor within families have undergone significant shifts. Dual income families and sharing household responsibilities have become more prevalent, challenging traditional gender roles and expectations. Single-parent families. The rise of single-parent families is another important aspect of the changing family structure. Factors such as divorce, separation, and increasing acceptance of single-parent adoption have contributed to this shift. Single-parent families may be headed by a mother or a father and facing the challenges and responsibilities. Despite these challenges, many single parents successfully navigate the complexities of raising children while preserving cultural heritage. Blended and extended families. Blended families resulting from remarriage or cohabitation from previous relationship have become more common in recent decades. These families bring together children from different biological parents, often requiring adjustment and negotiations to establish new family dynamics. Additionally, extended families, which include relatives beyond the immediate household, continue to play a significant role in many cultures, ensuring the transmission of cultural heritage through intergenerational connections. Same-sex and LGBTQ+ families. In many parts of the world, there has been a growing recognition and acceptance of same-sex relationships and LGBTQ+ families. The legalization of same-sex marriage and adoption rights have provided opportunities for these families to form and thrive. Such families may consist of same-sex couples raising children or LGBTQ+ individuals who have formed supportive communities to create unique family structures. Cultural identity and family structure. Cultural heritage is crucial in shaping family structure, passing traditions, values, customs, and rituals passed down through generations. While family structures may have evolved, cultural heritage remains an anchor that connects individuals to their roots and provides a sense of identity, belonging, and continuity. Families often find innovative ways to integrate cultural heritage into their modern family structures, combining old traditions with new adaptations. World Family Day is a time to celebrate the importance of family in preserving cultural identity. Our families are the foundation of our society and they play a vital role in shaping who we are as individuals. By passing down tradition and exploring our ancestry, we can help keep our cultural heritage alive and ensure that our diversity continues to be celebrated worldwide.
Welcome back. Many are asking me, why am I dressing like this? I said I'm a bit cold. Anyway, it's one of those things. But this morning, a big shout out goes to Demola Sonyaolu. Like Ebenezer Bay actually sang it. Happy birthday to you. It's a new year. We pray to be the beginning of many good things. And also to all our viewers out there, our lovers, our fans, we pray and wish all those who are celebrating on a day like this many, many, many happy and bountiful returns with lots of celebrations surrounding you, your loved ones, and your family. Joy is right here with me, and before we continue with the show, you seem to be missing transit.
I had a very terrible encounter on my way here, but that's fine. It's one of those
okay,
things.
so to our viewers at home.
Good morning to everyone. It's always good to be here. I am Princess Joy Yaban. Sorry for being late on the show this morning.
Okay, so this morning we're looking at a very, very sensitive topic: family values and cultural identity. Family values and cultural identity. What is a family value? How does family value affect you? But all these family values that you people are talking about, in what way? Culture, we know now. I am a cultural person. I love where I come from. My parents taught me a little bit about my background and all that. But it's more than that. So we'll be talking deeply. How well are your children rooted in your culture? Let's start from talking about the mother tongue. Yes. How well do they speak it? How well do they understand those things they need to do when they see the elders? We'll be talking a little bit about that too much today. We have our guest already seated. My darling brother, Olalekan Motobi, is right here with us, and it's so great an honor for him to be here. It's a new year, so we are seeing him in the new year. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
I told you came with another one. You don't carry another one.
Happy New Year to him as he joined us this morning, because today is so 15. So he's telling you, month is not waiting for anybody.
Yes.
Today is already 15th of January. So how many remain? 16 days. I beg, grab your coat and make sure you're working and you're intentional about what your life means to you and what you want to make out of your life. So this morning, Lekon is a certified marriage and relationship coach. And he also talks about life activities, experiences that comes across. Nobody is too young to talk about life. Oh. I tell you, nobody. Even a 16-year-old will give you a story that you are 60. I've never heard before. And that's the society we found ourselves now. So this morning, what are family values and why are they important?
Okay, so family values are simply say characteristics, okay, that usually differs from family to family, but particularly is what forms a person. One of the problems we have in our society now is because of the lack of family values. Okay, everything, whatever problem you want to point out, in Nigeria, for example, it will trickle down to family values. So family values are very intricate. They are the characteristics that are imbibed in child to help that child be a proper person. Okay, so things like integrity, for example. Okay, should be a family value. Okay, should be a value. I'm saying should be because the truth is not everybody that imbibes that kind of value. Integrity. So things like integrity, things even something as simple as being on time. For example, you find sometimes children maybe are driving at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and you find that a child is still going to school on the road at that time. I'm wondering how. Now, when that child grows, that child has not been taught the importance of being on time. When she was doing an introduction, she apologized for coming. Now that itself is a value. People don't send, and it shows a lot that. So when you meet an individual, when you meet a person, how they relate to you, how they treat you, how they treat themselves is a pointer to the kind of family that they've come from, or the kind of family value that it imbibed. Because sometimes it's not so. Sometimes now the best way is that is the family unit, the father, mother that imparts this values. Okay, but sometimes what's important really is that the child finds that value. Okay, and that's very so. So family values are very key. They are the reason why we are living in a disintegrated society. Okay, the guy on the road that is stopping buses and collecting money from them is lack of that in itself. A big man that is taking everybody's money and doesn't care about how it's spent, lack of integrity, all those things show the problem. And the problem is that there are no values that have been intended, okay, from the family. So family values are like the bedrock of a proper society. Without family values, we are going to have a very, very disorganized society.
You see, every time we talk about family values, I shiver because we are heading into a society that is gradually losing those values we are perfecting. How does it, shape us in terms of culture? I know that value is one thing that binds people together. Whether you're from the north, the south, the east, there are certain values that are generalized. So you cannot say because you're from the north, that is why you don't know what respect is all about. Everybody have their way. But now, how does this value shape our culture? I will share an experience with you. When I first came into Lagos, where I'm coming from, we just greet, the usual way, and then we bend down a little bit, as a girl. And I came one day and I saw one young boy coming from school, and he posited flats. And I was watching the boy, and I was still gisting. And I was looking, in my mind, I didn't realize that the boy was greeting me. Somebody had to draw my attention to read that. This boy is greeting you. I had to apologize. Sorry. They said, no, you don't apologize to the boy. So they said, for as long as I had not answered the boy, he wasn't going to rise up. So how does this value shape our culture? Because the young boys of today will say me. If I've even to bend down and not to talk of prostrate, So how does it shape our culture?
Yes, so family values. Now, family. When you say family is a smaller unit, and culture is a larger unit in that aspect. Now, both of them are interwoven. and both of them should impact each other
Yeah.
in some sense. But generally, largely, you find out that the cultural values can have impact on the family value, like the cultural identity of a family, of a place. Now, for that boy you mentioned now, one of the things that is being taught practically is this is how our culture, the way we show respect is that you prostrate. Now, somebody will say because he prostrates doesn't mean he has respect. But he has been taught,
That's
yes, the expression of respect in that culture. Now, that boy, whether you are in his culture or not, he has been taught is as long as you meet an elderly one, this is how you respond.
You know.
So it shows that now it's not just people outside that is greeting like that. He's greeting his parents in the same way as well. So in that particular way, is their obviously their culture, probably Yoruba culture, that now imparted that value of a respect in that sense. And then generally, you know, we have like two types of identity, cultural identities. There's the more individualistic cultural identities, and there's the more how do I put it? I think let me call it general. In Nigeria, there are more of the general one. Now, maybe in the West, UK, the USA, there's a lot of attention on the individual person. That's why a child can leave home, okay, easily, and nobody, okay, in that sense. But in Nigeria, if I have that, there's a lot of focus on that unity, a group,
family, community.
Yes, community. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. That sense of community. So, if you come from a place where, if you want to get married, you just
so please.
Now, if you come from that place, and then you want to marry somebody that comes from a place that before I even say yes to you I need to, you know, talk to my parents.
Yeah.
Now, what the difference is, their culture is impacting the values they have as a person. So culture has a significant impact on the values that we have as family. But one of the key things that is important is for every family, you must check. When you check the culture and look at the kind of identity that culture gives, does it flow with the kind of family I want to raise? Yeah. So it's not just everything from culture I will import into my family. I need to check that are there things in this world that I don't want? Yes. For example, culturally they say that an Ekiti person is a very stubborn person. Now that's a cultural identity of the average Ekiti man. Okay.
They are going to Ekiti people, we love you.
Ekiti, by the way.
Ekiti people, we love you.
They'll always
because there's a good side to it. There's a good side of being driven. It makes them, they stick to things. When they want something, they are go-getters in that sense. But there's also the flip and negative side of they are very adamant, they are very stubborn, and sometimes their husbands, they are very stubborn, they listen to their wives and things like that. Now that's a cultural identity for an Ekiti person. But when you look at your family, do I want to? So that thing, I must ensure that I do not import it into my family value. Okay, so it's a cultural identity. I must not transfer it. So cultural identity has significant impact on the family value, but you can choose and select. These are the things I want to import, and these are the things I don't want to import.
Okay, importing and exporting. We'll be coming back because I'll be asking my guests what's the difference between culture and traditional. And we'll be, you know, we want to yononoe. I don't know how to say that in Ekiti. We want to really dissect it so that we really understand, because some are of the opinion, what is culture say? What is tradition? How well do they, are they interwoven? Are they connected in any way? We'll be discussing that, but we need to go for our word on Maple, because this has a lot to do with us, and it means a lot, because in all this word that you are going to read now is a long way with our topic in our discussion this morning. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. told you what Amabo says a lot about our discussion. You heard that that was a saying by Hillary Clinton. It is not just enough for us to talk about the family, you know, the values, but we need to value the family itself. So this morning, we just don't want to talk about this cultural values that comes with the family, or cultural identity that comes with your family, my family, our family. But we want it to be implemented because we'll have a better and a more, you know, loving society. You will not see boyfriend beheading girlfriend. And he's not remorseful. You will see a change. You will see new things. You know, many things will change if we have this in our mind. Because integrity, like I guess said, trustworthiness. When you understand the value of doing something wrong and quickly accepting, you understand, to take the step of apologizing. It goes a long way. It goes a long way. So right now, because I guess it's still pretty here, I want to ask what is the difference between cultural and traditional? And are traditional values still relevant in these modern day times? Is it still very relevant? How relevant is it? Apart from this Yahoo using it negatively, how relevant is it?
Okay, so so culture is a broad spectrum, a broad concept. Okay, so like we're taught in social studies, culture is the way of life.
Yeah.
Now, the way you now do life, the exact practices
of life,
customs, is what is called tradition. Okay, so you find every culture has its own specific tradition. That's why you find that even say among the Igbos, there are some traditions that are different from town to town. Okay, so tradition is how we do things here. Okay, but culture is a more, you know, broader things. Now, how important are still traditions in the modern age? Now, to a large extent, now we can answer these questions on, you know, different levels. For the religion side, from the social side.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to focus a lot more on the social side of things. Okay, so now when we look at tradition, for example, the tradition, let me use Yoruba that I'm a little familiar with. Now, one of the key things about Yoruba tradition, when in marriage, for example, when a man sees a woman he wants to marry, the tradition is that he doesn't go to tell her. He goes to tell his father that, my father.
In those days,
yes.
In those days,
Not now.
I go to the father, I have seen this girl. And then the father say, what's her name? Where's she from? Okay, then the father maybe sends his brother to go and, you know, find out things about the family. Then one day they go to this family and say, our son has seen a flower and all those that.
We want to pluck.
Yes.
Flower they did
Now,
not
even though we just do that now, when we want to do the engagement drama, want to use for video, we do that thing.
You know?
But that tradition in itself is very, very important even on Monday. Okay? And that's one of the reasons why we have failing marriages as well. Now, people think that they can choose by themselves. If I like you, you like me, that's all that matters. But that's not all that matters. Now, so that tradition, even though it may not be exactly the way it is as per, I now go and tell my father before I tell the girl and all that, but the tradition of you don't marry a person alone. You must involve others in our modern days. Now, things like, I was talking about integrity, for example. Back in the day, there will be times when they want to say, they ask people to swear by maybe Ogun or something about so. Yeah. What they're trying to do, they're trying to ensure that if you swear by this god to, you know, go up the throne or take a position, it assures us that you will imbibe things like integrity. So, is that value, is this still very important in our modern society? Yes. So now, one of the key things we also understand is any modern society that wants to do away with the things that have been built before will eventually crumble. You know, it's like
are we crumbling now?
Obviously we are. Okay, because
We've lost integrity.
Because truths need to be
we've
told.
lost many things.
We've
We
lost
are in a falling society right now. Go online, Twitter in particular, for example. You see men and women that can have basic conversations with themselves without abusing each other, without
Okay.
calling each other out.
Yeah.
Now that's
Very
now
true.
sometimes they think that it's because you act me, because you made me angry, that's why you're making me like this. But when I see that, it showed me that this person was not trained. It showed me that this person wasn't taught self-control. This person wasn't taught things like conflict resolution in their family. When you and your brother were fighting, your parents did not teach you how to resolve things. That's why, yes, amicably. That's why you come on social media. Somebody you've never met before, and you are raining curses at them, threatening to kill them, and things like that. So when we look at things like that, it shows that
Falling society.
there is no value being imparted.
Does cultural differences affect family dynamics in a multicultural?
Oh, interesting.
Now, you know, when I got this question, does culture? I'm thinking an Igbo man from a family where he's the first son. I know how the Eastern people regard their first son,
Odogu.
the breadwinner. And here is him leaving the entire Eastern part. And you know, they are fond of marry our own. They like this. So they don't. Well, shout out to all the Igbo people out there, but I am talking from observation, and this is my own personal opinion. They hardly had intermarriages. Hardly. It's of recent, you see that a lot of them are breaking that chains and going inter. Now, they are trained in certain ways. They are modeled in certain ways. In a different cultural setting completely. You said something, you're not marrying an individual, you are marrying the entire family.
Yeah.
How do you bring two cultural differences into a place of where you want to build your own culture, to have your family identity, your family dynamics?
That's a very profound question, because like you said, now we're having, particularly Igbo you mentioned, now you know, there was a trend on Twitter sometime talk about how Igbos are practically intermarried everywhere across the world in that sense. Okay, so will intermarriage affect, there be an effect? Yes, there will be an effect. However, the choice of will it affect negatively or positively would be on the two people involved.
Okay, trying to build
Yes.
their own family.
You know?
Yes,
All together.
because usually the issue most times is many people want to build their own family exactly the way their own parents built their own family. So, husband from Igbo wants to build his home the way he saw his father and mother did. Wife from, say, Kanuri wants to build, is longing to build her home the same way. So there's already conflict. So we both must agree that we've married one another. We must now together define. That's why I was saying that we now choose. Okay, this one was good in how they raised you in Igbo. Let's impart it in our family. They taught me to be resourceful. They taught me to be a very I think resourceful.
Yeah, hardworking.
Yeah, hardworking and things like that. Now that's a good thing. So let's put it. Let's imbibe in our family. Okay, I'm from Kanuri. They taught us how to be respectful, how to listen to our elders and things like that. So we'll pick from both cultures and now raise the ones that we know that are negative. We will now consciously ensure we don't.
For instance, it's of recent we're talking about men going to the kitchen. A typical Igbo man would not enter the kitchen.
Yes, that is a
typical, you know, the way they were brought up. Typical Igbo
but now, I think some of them are really, they rather even want to enter the kitchen and make all their decisions themselves and all that.
They rather see their wife so beautiful and they're in the market.
Yeah.
They love that.
That's a good thing.
Admire, and that's one thing I used to admire about them. They can buy the most expensive things for their wife, but when you look at them, You say, now leave that thing, now
You know.
look, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like you're saying, so you pick here,
Yeah.
and then build
To get
your
that.
own cultural.
Yeah.
I'm picking orange, you know, I'm picking, you know, like that, and you
And
bring
then
it together, it
put it
becomes
together
beautiful,
and
build
something
and it builds
So you
something
find that when you
nice.
are building, sometimes it's even different. It's not different from where both of you came from, because you are building something different. It's like, say, like we're saying, I want to make a new fruit. I take a bit of orange, take a bit of banana, take a pawpaw, put it together. You know, cross. When you taste it, it tastes different
always
from if it's
different,
just
yes.
orange, or if it's just banana in that sense. So that is to merge that.
Okay, now talking about the children, when we talk about, because of course, and you learn that, yes, I know you know that song, but you don't know how you walk it. You know that song. Adewale, yeah, you sabi. I know you know it. Sing it if you know it. Let me see your message. Okay, so we grow from, you know, from that toddler to that teenage, and we grow to the youth, and we get into marriage, just like we've been talking about. So should children be actively taught the family values, just like we've been talking about it? Should they really be taught? Some are taught outside because they refuse to learn from inside, or they should just understand this by the example of what transpires from their home. We're talking about a young boy who decides to just prostrate and go flat.
Yeah.
It's because he knows, I'm sure he must have also been seen. It's not just been taught.
Yeah.
He must have been seen it being done by those who brought him up, whether his parents or his guardian or something. So should they actively be taught all these values, cultural values or traditional values, or they should go by the examples of what they see? Which do you think is
It has to be learn as they live. Okay, and children learn as they see. Okay, so usually what is confusing for children is when what you're saying is different from how you are living, then that will cause confusion for the child. But as a parent, you must teach actively and also be an example of what you're saying. So if you are saying that a child, you want to imbibe the culture of prostrating to a child, it must be that when you are with your parent, the child sees that you prostrate as well. Okay. Now, if you tell the child that always prostrate to your elders, one day the child will ask you, "What, Daddy, you did not always
you did not prostrate, you know?"
You have to explain that. Now, that child grows, the child begins to wonder, is this thing really true?
True or not?
But because sometimes it's not things that the child may not see, have the opportunity to see. Say integrity, for example, at work. Your child may not have the opportunity to see that you're a person of integrity at work. But you can teach that child at home. Okay? It's always good, like when we send you on an errand to buy something, you declare the balance. I spent 125 naira,
and this is the balance of what you have.
That is, you teach that child that integrity, because child may not have seen how you do accounting at work. But that is it. So you must teach and live. Now, the living part is easy to teach. It's sweet to teach and tell a child, you must do this, you must do this. But it's that living part that many adults are missing out on. Because we feel that, well, me, I've lived my own life, it's not your turn.
It's your turn.
But your life is still teaching the child. So if a father is telling a child not to be promiscuous, but the child knows my father is promiscuous, is there a tendency that child will become promiscuous as well? Even though the father is telling the child not to be promiscuous. Because it's what they see. So living by example is more instructive for the child, but we must also ensure that we actually sit them down and teach specific things that we want them to imbibe.
Sorry, what about those children that, you know, Yoruba people will say, "Wokwe ogbeko," as in, you don't understand that. You are taught. They taught you. Just decide not to accept the home training or the upbringing, which is right, the integrity. And some will tell you, when they teach you at home and you refuse to take that training, to take it in, to accept it the way you showed, you will be taught from outside. What do we do to that?
You know that human beings are like the most powerful people, creatures of God. And one of the things that makes us powerful is the power of choice, power of will. Now, when you want to start training a child at 10, 11, you are late already. Because between 0 to 8, 9,
it's gone.
By 10, you're supposed to be guiding a child, coaching a child. You're not just teaching them. So the things you've taught them, you're now,
working on.
Yeah. So that's one of the issues with people that, so some parents thought that they taught them, because they started teaching them at 10, 11, 12. But then they've already formed their own character, their person, their identity. So it's difficult for even the child to change. That's one case. Now, are there people that really, their parents really did everything from 0 to 8 and all that, and they are present, but the child still chooses to not accept it? That is a possibility. But there are many of them like that. Usually it's sometimes peer pressure, when the influence of the external is more than the influence of the parent. Okay, and then these external and negative externals. Then you find out that a child that comes from a very humble background, maybe they give the child Latifa, and the child will go and change. My name is LT, or you get LT, and then
PJ.
Okay, and then goes to begin to do all kind of things that you cannot reconcile with the home that you come from. Where did that child learn it? But because we are social human beings, we keep learning things, and we can choose the one we want to pick at time based on the things that we believe will favor us. So a person that has not been taught the importance of delayed gratification, for example, that is, for example, if a child always wants, I want chocolate, and you give the child immediately. I want sweet, you give the child. You never tell the child no. Now, you've not taught that child that there's something called patience. There's something called you can't have everything you have now. When that child becomes a teenager and the child does not get the kind of money he wants to have, he'll go and do Yahoo. He'll go and find a way to make money outside the legal things, because it's not been taught that there is time to build, and there's time for you to be patient, there's time for money to come. So it's all a full thing. And like you said, a person that they've been teaching you respect at home, you think your mouth to once. One day you can't make mouth to a soldier, you get slapped from outside. Your head will reset.
What are the consequences in losing one's cultural identity? Now, when you talk about culture, like what we've been saying, there's a personal identity that everybody has. Just like we are talking about children and stand for. Now, what are the consequences of losing oneself? Because I feel like if I have a personal cultural identity that represents contentment, integrity, everything, hard work, I won't come into the society and want to do otherwise. My own identity will start reflecting. And it's not about what my parents taught me. It's not about what I grew up. It's me sitting down and saying, Joy, this is how you want to figure life. Now, what are those consequences of losing that identity you're talking about? I'll share something because we're talking about identity. Some time ago, if I give my daughter my kids snack money, my daughter will pick the brother's own. If there's no change, it will spend her own and the brother's own. And so one day they brought it to the family table, and the father figure in their life said, you better stop it, because it's not about you eating your brother's this thing. It's about learning that whether there is change or not, it belongs to my brother. So I must keep it. And she was like, about the apology. She said, no, the fact that he was emphasizing that it's not about the apology, it's about learning not to even eat it because it's not yours. Now, such a child will grow up having that identity that even if you save money in my hands and I am starving, as long as I have not been given the permission to pick, I won't pick. But somebody said, you were hungry, why didn't you eat? Now, that is a culture. So what the consequences of losing that identity?
Now, the thing is, let me backtrack a little. Family is what imparts identity. Okay, so a person that did not have a proper family already has no identity. Okay, so think of a chameleon. They take the shape of where they are. because they don't have an identity of themselves.
Of their own.
So when everybody is nice here, they will act nice. When everybody is rugged, they will rugged. So it's the highest influence that determines their identity in that sense. So when there's no identity, like I said at the beginning, we are going to have a destabilized and crumbling society, because people that don't know themselves are just acting erratically. Actually, many people lack that identity in this day and age. They don't even fully understand themselves. One, they don't know the right values to imbibe as people. Now, this thing you said, that somebody kept money in your hand and you don't touch it, is a big deal. Not many people know it, adults. But when you keep money in your hand, it's the exact note. You want to collect it in 3-4 years. The exact note
that way
that you give, that she'll give it back to you. That's someone that was taught the importance of integrity at a level. Okay. Now, some people, now I don't know, but I myself and some people I've heard at different times, were victims of, in secondary school, went to do a job.
Oh my God!
Please don't go
Okay.
there.
I'm not lucky in that area, I swear.
And somebody carried money
I'm not.
away.
I lost.
I'm not.
500 2 years
You
ago.
can imagine.
I'm not.
Lack of value. Now, if you have a personal identity of, I am a person of truth, I cannot be a thief, because you feel that this is beneath me. Because you have a strong sense of yourself. I cannot do something like this. For example, sometimes I've seen on Lagos Road, men in suits come down from car and lock themselves on the neck.
Yeah.
Now I can say it was because this person did something to me, but it's a sense of self that is missing. How can a old you come and be throwing punches on the road? In that sense, we can talk like gentlemen if we batch ourselves. Let's park to the side of the road and talk. We can argue, but we will not now lock each other. Or, it's a strong sense of self. I cannot be found fighting a conductor. I cannot be found. Now sometimes this thing come off as pride. What is that? You know yourself. Yourself,
and how far you can go when you get
example.
certain situations.
On YouTube, there are these movies they do now that they say rich prince goes to the city to act as a poor person, gatesman. Now, while he's doing gatesman, he does not feel himself. Like, because I am the prince.
Yeah.
I am just the boss, shout at him and all that.
I know where I'm going, I know what I want.
Is secured in who he is. So when we have a strong sense of identity, no matter when somebody shouts at you, if you know I'm a calm person, I would never fight you. I'll never raise my hand against you. You might get me angry, I will just walk out because I cannot be found fighting. So, you know what? This matter is getting out of hand.